This video is how to create a medical service from scratch in your company library or in a client library, because adding one in the client library works the same way if you're adding from scratch. The difference is if you add something to a company library, then you can just copy it to your clients. If you add something to the client library, it is unique to that client. So to get to this spot where I can select company library, I go task directory, see it? I go administrative, down here, see it? Highlighting it, and I come to this page. Then I select company library. Now in this company library, there is already a medical service called Monitor. So I'm not going to create another type because I've already got a medical service for monitoring health. I'm going to add a new medical service. That's the point. And in order to add a new medical service, I click this button right here, medical/forms, because I'm adding it from scratch. So if I start at the top, there's an option for new clients. If I select this, and after I save this, anytime I add a new client, this medical service would automatically be added to that new client. If I select this, when I save this service, immediately it will be on all existing clients. So my advice is don't do either of these until you have reviewed that service carefully to make sure it's what you want. Then you can come back and edit it and say, now I want to apply this to all existing clients. So I'm going to select that it is a monitoring medical service. I'm just going to call this new medical service example, just to give it a name. And this is the service name that staff would see when you schedule it. They'll select this to get to the tasks that they'll use to chart on. If I don't want a medical service to ever have to be scheduled, I only want it to appear on the care plan, I would select this option. Okay, and I can put an objective number that will help things be put in the right order. So when you read the care plan, it all makes sense. The next field that's important that you should use on this is instructions to direct care staff. This is what shows to staff when they chart. It's a very large field. You can write a book about it. These fields, including instructions to direct care staff, can all be renamed to fit your verbiage that you use in your company. Okay, these print on the plan of care. All of this prints on the plan of care, but in addition, this shows to staff when they chart. Now we're going to draw our eye down here to tasks. This is where we're building the questions that we want staff to answer. So I'm just going to say that task 1 is a number. We want staff to put in a number as an example. So I'm just going to give it NUM. It would help if I put the BER. And I'm going to say a count is required. And I'm going to save the task. And at that point, if I save this service, I see I have a new medical service example that I added to my library on September 14th. If I wanted to add to it or change it now, all I need to do is click Edit. This icon here with the little pencil in it, I'm going to click it. And there's that medical service that I was just talking to you about. With that one task in there, that's a number. Okay? I could add another task. Notice that it's task number 6, and I've already only got a task number 1 in there. We just incremented them by 5 so that there would be room to tuck in new services. If I wanted to make this task number 2, I could easily do that. And I'm going to call this number with feedback. So when the staff puts in a number on this line, if they put in a number over 100, they would see this information displayed. Okay, like additional insulin or retake in 15 minutes or call the nurse or whatever. If they put in a number in my example lower than 50, they would see under 50. Okay, and I'm going to say, but this one, they have got to chart on this one or they can't save the service. And I'm going to save the task. So now you see I have 2 tasks in there, task 1 and task 2. I'm going to put in another service and I'm going to say that it is a drop down with a description, with a comment. Okay, so I'm going to say, is comment required? Yes. I'm going to create a drop down, and the code is the order in which the item should appear, and I'm just going to use things that are stored in my browser right now just for speed. And I could have this be orange, whatever I want it to be here. I'm creating a drop down here. And I'm going to say that this task must also always be charted on. So I'm going to save the task. Now I have a drop down with a comment required, and I'm going to click update. Oops, I don't know that I saved it. I think I clicked the wrong clack. Oh, I did fine. I did save it. Okay, now after I would recommend that you take a really close look at this, put it on one client, chart it. In fact, we'll do that just to give you an example. So now I have this in my company library, okay? I'm going to go to client information and program, and I don't think I have a client set up in this company. So I'm just going to say new guy, and I'm going to put in a birthday, and I'm just putting in something to get a record in here. Okay. And I'm going to go to his company library. Okay. The way I go to his company library is I go task directory, client information, select new guy. There's shortcuts, but this will get you there. And I go to client library. All right. Notice that that new service is not there. The only thing that is there is monitor weight height, because Adaptive delivers that for every new client. To add that service or any service that Adaptive delivers, we just click Add New from Library. This is what's in this company's company library at this point. There it is. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to approve it. Notice that approve is hiding down there. And there it is on my new guy. Okay. Then what I would do is I would go to medications. I would schedule that medical service. And the way I do that is I select medical service right here. There's that new medical service, and I want to see it. So I could just say that it's PRN. That will get it on there, and I don't have to do anything except say that it's PRN. And I'm going to insert the record. Okay, so now if I go to medication administration charting and I select my new guy, and I come down here to this new medical service, PRN, and I select it, this should look familiar to you. So on this line, this shows, okay, and this can be big. Here's, I want them to enter in a number. This was the number with the feedback. So number is not required. Number with feedback is required. Drop down with comment is required. And I can see that the comment is required and the drop down is required. This number is required. This comment is not required. And if I enter in something on this one, I have to put in a count measure. If I just put in a comment, I would get an error. So if I tried to save this, I have to put in a comment. I have to put this task in. I have to put this task in, okay? So I'm just gonna say that this is 1, just for an example. Okay, that's fine. All right, now this one is number with feedback. So I'm gonna put in 110 and save it. And remember when I said it's above 100, I would see that information. Let's say I put in 40 and save it. This one is under 50. So that's how that information would be displayed to the staff based on what they enter in, okay? This one is that drop down that I built. So I'm gonna select the drop down, remember, yes, no, orange. And if I tried to save this, I need to have a comment here. So I'll put in a comment and I'm gonna try to save this. I'm not gonna worry about this one right now. I think that'll be just fine. And there it goes. So now I have saved this. Now I have got to save, it says clicks, I've saved the pop-up. Now I need to save the page. So in order to save the page, I would click Save Records. And actually, since this is PRN, I would have to put in a note as well. And then I would click Save Records to save this. I don't want to have to remove this, so I'm not going to do that last step. But that's how to add a new medical service to your company library. Check it on a client, and then if you want to make adjustments, go back to your company library, edit that service, make your adjustments, and then say, if you're going to make it go on all existing clients, then select existing clients, or then select all new clients. Okay, that's how that works.